Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Star Stuff Podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars. My name is Colin.
I'm Josh.
And I'm James. Sorry, my voice. Sorry. And I'm James.
And we are here to talk about D23 from last week. We already did a full episode about it, but from that point to now, there really wasn't, that much news that dropped. The only big thing that dropped besides that was the announcement that Tales from Galaxy's Edge is coming to PlayStation VR, which is very, very cool. If you guys did not get the chance to go to Disney Springs in Florida and play that free experience of the first 9 minutes of the game, you'll have the chance to play the full game besides it being on Oculus, because not everyone has an Oculus. And correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but do you think PlayStation VR is better, or do you think it's more like doable, like in price range?
It's definitely cheaper right now. I know that Oculus just went up in price due to inflation, so I think they added another $50 on top of it. But yeah, I mean, it would be pretty interesting getting more people to be able to play it. Now, if the only thing they would do is start bringing out Vader Immortal on other platforms, would be nice.
Yeah, that is really strange that
it's
Oculus.
I'm pretty sure they have a deal. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have a deal with. They had a deal with the Vader side. They didn't have a deal with the Batu side. So I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But hopefully, eventually, we'll get Vader Immortal, because we can get more people voting on getting that Lady Corvex lightsaber in Galaxy's Edge. That thing looks sick.
That would actually be pretty cool.
I would love to see how they would do that.
And have y'all played Vader Immortal? Have y'all had a chance to?
I have.
That's amazing.
I think I only played that demo over at Star Celebration 2019.
That's right. Yeah, they had
it
there.
Yeah. But I did play like the prequel to that, which was that Star Wars VR experience at the Void, because that experience was connected to it.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. At the because of you are part of the Rebel Alliance, you like go in as stormtroopers. I mean, like you like go undercover as stormtroopers, and you're on Mustafar, and you go into Vader's castle, and then you are about to steal that lightsaber that you were talking about, and then Vader catches you, and then he chases you out of the base.
I remember playing in the Void when Vader's like walking toward. I remember I was legitimately scared. Like like I know it's virtual reality, it's make believe, but the way they animated him, I was like, oh, this is not fun anymore. And then of course, who is it? Cassian Andor saves the day. It's K2SO. Saves the day, and it's cool. It's a cool experience, and Vader Immortal, as we said, is only on Oculus, so that would be pretty cool if they could expand it to PlayStation VR and everything else, and so more people can play, because it's a fun thing. It's a very fun experience. So yeah. And this is something I've been kind of thinking about lately is, have you guys watched the movie? I mean, I know James has. I don't know if I talked that much about it with Josh, but have you guys watched the movie Ready Player One?
Yes.
So how far in advance do you think they are to that point where like we'll be able to do like actual like VR online?
The metaverse.
Yeah, it's almost.
I don't want that. I want something very similar to Ready Player One, where I just put on the VR set and like I'm just like full out like
So the
playing
metaverse.
playing Star Wars Battlefront 2, but like with the VR set, and we're playing online, and like I think that would be a lot of fun.
So the metaverse, you want a metaverse? The closest thing I think what we have right now is Fortnite. That is the closest thing you can have right now for a metaverse. As in, like, you're talking about like all shapes and sizes can join in one game kind of thing, and like you have different IPs from all over the place. Or are you meaning like more like the Void side where it's VR?
I'm talking more of the Void side where it's like VR, where like you're putting it on and like you're doing all the movements and everything. It's happening in real time.
Well, we are pretty close. I don't know if you've ever played, like, I love playing VR chat. Have you played VR chat?
I have not.
Okay, so VR chat, with the VR system that I have, you can use your fingers. So I've got finger tracking. So every time you like move your hands, that works. You can get different pucks, which can act as basically your wire bones. So you have pucks that you can put on your knees and pucks you can put on your hips, your knees, and your feet, and that allows you to scale inside VR. And I would say VR chat is probably about 20 to 30% of what you're looking for in
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. It's very good.
Yeah, I've heard of these. I know some of these chat rooms can be rather bad, but the fact that they're able to create a server that can host this, that you can go in there and you can be in your VR attire and you can communicate with people.
I can tell you a story about how in depth I thought this was. Like, I jumped on one time and I met someone, we were talking, and he's like, "Hey man, do you want to go to a party tonight?" And I was like, of course. So I was like, sick. So he invites me to this world, and then he invites a whole bunch of people, and it's like literally looks like exactly like a club. And we're in there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my friend's like a DJ in real life. She does DJ stuff, and she's gonna DJ for us tonight." And she had the whole setup through the so you could hear it what she was doing, and she was playing inside the VR. So we did it for St. Patrick's Day last year, I believe.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, man, it blew me away, and I was like, it's little instances like this that I don't think many people know of how far you can really push VR currently. That I think we're getting very, very close, because I mean there's Star Wars maps all over the place.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, could you imagine if somebody's like, "Hey, we're gonna go rescue Princess Leia and the Death Star," and you literally just do the mission, like you do the mission with the goggles, and that would be amazing.
I think the next step for a lot of people is going to be haptic feedback, where you can actually feel what's inside the game.
Ooh,
because right now, I think there is haptic feedback suits, and there's haptic feedback like hands and stuff, so you can feel the tension of what you're. Yeah, exactly. It's super expensive. It dies pretty quickly through battery life. So I think that's our next stepstone to bring it up to like 50% of where you want to see it.
So the reason why that I brought like of the VR stuff and the game stuff is because September 12th was National Video Game Day, and we really didn't talk about it. And I'm just thinking of how far and like that we've come in different games throughout the years, because that was of jumping from like the Nintendo 64 to what we have now, where you can actually jump in an X-wing and fly it around. And then you have the new Lego Star Wars game where you've got 20 open worlds, and it's crazy to think about where we will be in the next 10 years, 20 years, where we'll probably be on the verge of what you're talking about, and we'll be like Ready Player One.
Well, I mean, the ultimate thing that lies inside of VR, which is like an ultimate accomplishment for VR, lies with Star Wars. It's making a virtual reality lightsaber that feels like a lightsaber would if you hit something. The resistance there, everyone has tried to do it. I mean, they had it at Disney Quest. Like back in the day over at Disney Quest, they had a VR ride that had like a lightsaber-esque device, and you would literally swing it around. I mean, I want to see. I think it's a big challenge for people to try and get a lightsaber right, but I think you always see it's kind of like, I don't remember if you had that. What's it called? Alternate reality, or one that they had? You have the one, Colin. That's
the Jedi Challenges. That was actually really cool.
Oh yeah, that was 8 or 9 years ago that one came out. Yeah,
dude, no, I loved it. I used to play it all the time, and then one day, the app just updated, and the phone for Apple and Samsung, the iOS update didn't match up with the app, and then it just stopped working with it. And for years they kept selling those in stores, knowing well that was the issue, and they kept selling them. Right? Yeah. So Josh is making that joke because I used to have that as like my stand for like my TV, but now it's in storage. But yeah, so no, it's just I love that. That was super cool. And I wish they had more stuff like that. So I can't wait until they bring more games like that, in like the Star Wars theme, like to VR, because I think we just need more stuff like that, because not everyone can go to Galaxy's Edge and everything, and not everyone likes to travel. And I think, having an open world Star Wars game where you can just hop on your own ship and just be like, all right, I'm going to Tatooine, and then you can just call a friend and be like, hey, you want to come? And he just just pops up there, and then then
you go to the cantina, listen to some music, get into some fights. Yeah, that would be pretty amazing, and I hope this happens in the next 10 years.
I mean, we are definitely 25% of the way there on that.
We're almost okay, all right.
I can definitely tell you that there's like worlds like that you can go in VR chat and just pop up and be like, wow, we're in like Star Wars Cantina and we're all together. I can guarantee that's a real thing. So
that's really cool.
I'm excited.
But like having a whole video game of Star Wars, and it's like, hey, I'm gonna travel in my ship and go up and go to Tatooine, or that would be cool. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Well, I know, and never mind. I'm not gonna get into the details. How they did it in Ready Player One. That's a whole other crazy thing.
Oh yeah.
Anyways.
I think the closest game that you can like actually like fly like a starship and everything right now is Squadrons. I keep seeing reviews for VR. It's really cool. I played it just normal, and it's like, all right, it's fine, but you like have that feature where you can actually turn your head and everything, and like just like on normal console. And I'm just like, if I could do that in VR, that would be really cool. And because they've got U wings, X wings, B wings, they've all like the classic ships, and just being able to actually see behind you, like of when you're like flying against people, and the game when you're in the actual like game mode, you can only see in front of you, but with VR apparently you can actually like lift your head and kind of look behind you just to see like what's going on. And I think that would be a lot of help, like of just playing the game. I think that would be really cool. So
can you imagine just doing the trench run with that thing on like that?
Oh my gosh, bro.
That would just be the best. That's the dream. Oh, somebody just asked us a question. What's the big reveal you're hoping for in Andor? See, that's an interesting question. I mean, do we want to jump into does Andor a week away? Yeah. Andor is 1 week away today. So when it comes to big reveals, I'm kind of like treating this how I did Solo, where I'm not expecting a big reveal, but hoping there will be one. Like at the end of Solo, we got that amazing reveal that there's, Darth Maul, Crimson Dawn, and it was like, whoa, that's nuts. But with Andor, I'm not expecting that big whoa moment. You know what I mean? Like I'm expecting just a really great action story spy thriller. I mean, what do you think, Colin? Are you expecting a big reveal, or are you kind of just wanting a great show?
Honestly, there's a lot of untapped potential during that era, and I think something will happen where it will either hint at. I could definitely see something hinting at cloning, which I know that's kind of like the main theme, like through the Bad Batch, and that kind of goes in the future, because during this point, I think Palpatine is trying to preserve himself as long as he can, and we'll probably see some type of obsession with cloning, and on top of that, it's going to be awesome to see these different sides of characters that we never seen before, and seeing more of the characters as well. It hasn't been 100% confirmed if Ian McDermott is going to actually show up in the show, but if you're going into the Senate, if you're going to Coruscant, it's a no-brainer, like to have his presence there.
Part of me doesn't want him in there. Part of me wants the Emperor as just this this phantom that we can't see. Like it's like they keep talking about the Emperor, and it's just we never see him. It's just he's always talked about. I don't know. For me, that would be a little bit better. And plus, I mean, we've already seen Palpatine. I don't know how many times. Yes, Ian McDermott's amazing, but I think for this show, I wouldn't want to see the Emperor. I just want him to be a shadow. Somebody said,
wait, when you say like you don't want to see him, do you mean like you don't want to see him like in person, or would you care if they did like a hologram version thing again?
Because they just did that for him in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, true. They can just be like, "Hey, you're already dressed. We might as well just." I mean, part of me doesn't want to see that. I just want to see just the Senate, and I want them to talk about the Emperor. I think story-wise, that would be a little bit cooler if they did it that way, to where you don't see him. Somebody said Rebels characters in Andor is my guess. That would be pretty cool to see some Rebels characters, some young, not too young, but some younger Rebels characters. Oh wait,
I know.
Is 5 years before Rogue One? Is this the heat of Rebels? Like, is this in like during that timeline?
The first episode of Rebels is happening 5 years from the events of it is. Yeah, because of the first season of Star Wars Rebels is happening 5 years before the events of A New Hope, and that is where Andor is.
So we might be hearing some.
Right. So I could definitely see like a cameo from Hera. And I know everyone would love to see Kanan show up. Live action Kanan. That would be amazing.
I could see them. Yeah, hiding them through all the promotionals, and then and then showing them and us being like, "Whoa, here we go."
Seeing Freddie Prinze Jr. as Kanan live action would like make everyone lose their minds, bro. Because of
use him.
I think they would. I think that's a no brainer because of that's something we talked about last week as
Rebels
well,
would be going on in the middle of it would be like the middle of Rebels when Andor's on.
Yeah,
like it's in the middle of timeline.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, it just I don't know that's a cool thing they could reveal is the Rebels characters, and thus that makes people want to watch Rebels, and that makes people want to get excited for Ahsoka because now we introduce these characters, and there they go. So we could see Ezra. Somebody said also somebody wants Deck's big reveal, more space diners, which I'm all for.
Of course.
Ezra casting. Oh yeah, Ezra casting is leaked. Like that was announced. Like Ezra, we know who Ezra's playing or who's playing Ezra. So
he's got the schnoz for it.
That's a possibility.
We did talk about that on Sunday as well. I don't think that Ezra would make an appearance. I think I think his big reveal, his live action debut, would be on Ahsoka.
Saving it for Ahsoka.
But something that I could see them doing, which is I know you just made a joke about. Well, because we had Ian McDermott on set for Kenobi, why don't we just put him over, like on Andor? Why don't they do that with Hera? Because they were shooting some stuff for Mandalorian season 3, and it sounds like she's going to be in it. So it would make sense if maybe they were like, okay, well let's put her on Andor for a quick cameo because of Star Wars Rebels, she actually does play a huge part in the rebellion.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
So I think having her presence in the show or like a cameo at least, and then in the second season, like we see her a decent amount because at that point you would have had Mandalorian and Ahsoka come out. So it's like, why not have Hera play a larger role? Because seeing her live action is going to be so cool and it's going to excite so many people.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I'm not gonna say on level with Ahsoka reveal in Mandalorian season 2, but there will be a big moment for all of us Star Wars fans when we do see her finally in live action. And whether or not it's gonna be an Andor, that's to be determined. So I'm excited about that. And one thing, if y'all have noticed, all these trailers we've been seeing of Andor, I am 98% certain that's just those 3 first episodes. Like every single trailer we have seen is just those 3 episodes. So think about
that's wild. If I'm telling you right now, that's wild if that's true.
Yeah, because it's the same stuff. I haven't seen anything new. And like they just released a new spot today, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, yeah, this is all the same footage. So I am 98% certain these are everything we've seen of Andor is only the first 3 episodes. So,
somebody was asking about Darth Maul. I don't think Maul would show up. I mean,
it would be cool, but I think there's so much happening with just the Empire that to bring in that plot line, that's
it would have to make sense, and I just don't see them being like, ooh, like here's Maul and his obsession with Obi-Wan. Here you go.
What do you think, Josh?
Just go put that on screen. No.
I mean, could you see Darth Maul in this, or is it too much?
I really don't want them to do that. Like I like if he pops up, I'm gonna be just like, oh, okay. Like, see, I don't want him to pop up. I think he'd just do so much better if he actually had a legitimate thing to do. Don't tease him. Make him actually have a bigger part. So if they're gonna, I genuinely, I think that they would just say and announce and be like, hey, Darth Maul is going to be a major part of the series, and then actually have him there if he was going to be something major like I want.
I see what you mean.
But what would be the bonus of having him just be like, hello, Crimson Dawn, and then like dope out for like 5 seconds? Like he was only there for like 5 seconds. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, if you want to allude to something that's happening, sure. I just don't want to see him. We already did that in Solo. It's kind of like, okay.
So if we do see him, you want it to be a bigger moment and an actual like plot device throughout.
Yes, a plot given device of something that he is doing, and at least dedicated an episode to what he's doing, and I would be like all for it, very happy.
Well, they have 12 episodes to play with, so
somebody I completely think it's going to happen, but I don't think they're going to use their time on that for Andor. I genuinely think that is another cash cow that they have in their head, that they're like, Disney has in their head. They're like, we're going to make this series on Darth Maul, and we're going to set it this time. And like, I can see that.
Yeah, I would. Maul, just called Maul.
He's such a popular character, but doesn't have that kind of media strength as in live action strength, whereas Darth Vader does. So I'm like, I see that happening more than just seeing like a little cameo right now.
Gotcha. Well, then again, the one thing with Maul though is a lot of people didn't watch Clone Wars, so they don't understand how he could still be alive at all from the Phantom Menace. So I agree. To see a whole show dedicated to that and to see flashbacks of Maul when he's being trained by Sidious would be also very, very cool. Somebody did say only half of Maul would show up, which is very true. Just want to say.
Accurate statement.
Very accurate statement. But yeah, so Andor's just a couple of days away now. Like it's here. It's finally here. Can I just side quest off? That's Plagueis in the Jedi Tales. Is that Plagueis in the Jedi and Tales of the Jedi? I don't believe so. You saw the trailer, right, Josh? Of Tales of the Jedi.
You haven't seen this trailer yet.
Yeah, oh man, it's solid. There is a masked figure in the trailer. And it's just we're just trying to figure out who this is, who this character could be. I think Colin may know. So Colin,
I do know. Who is it? So that scene and at the end where he of the trailer of where he turns to Ahsoka and is like, "No, who are you?" That is one of the Sith Inquisitors from the actual Ahsoka novel, where Ahsoka fights that Sith Inquisitor, beats him, takes his crystals, and then she tries to purify them, and then she turns them into white.
Nice. Oh, that's a cool story. Yeah. But yeah, I know y'all talked about Tales of the Jedi, but it just looks. I watched that trailer again, and I was like, "Oh, this looks amazing! Like this is so." And I'm glad y'all can finally see the trailer that I saw back in May.
Well, that is something that I wanted to ask you about, because you actually had the great opportunity of seeing the first episode.
Yes, I did.
Now, how long was it?
It was, I believe it was a Clone Wars length show. I think it was 22 minutes long.
Interesting, because they're calling it shorts.
I mean, I see. I think because we were all shocked that we were watching. Like I didn't even look at the clock because I was just like, I'm in a room with Dave Filoni watching this first episode.
Is that mind you, like 15 minutes to like where that's technically a short because you have like TV shows that are like 15 minutes now. It's not that very long, but it's as in shorts as in because it's also like an anthology. Every single one is different.
Yeah. You might. Yeah. It is a very loose definition of what that could mean. Short. But from when I watched it, it did feel like a Clone Wars episode length because there was a lot happening, and it was very intense. I don't want to tell you what the first episode was. It does deal with Ahsoka, and I was like, whoa! If they're all like this is going to be something pretty special for Star Wars fans. And the idea came when Dave Filoni said he saw the animation that they were doing for Bad Batch, and he was like, whoa, look at this. Look what we did. We've gotten this far. So he was like, okay, I want to do something like that now with this animation. And so he said he just came up with these 6 stories about, 3 about Ahsoka and 3 about Count Dooku. And I was like, this could be something pretty cool. And it looks really cool. It looks really, really great. And they only showed us the first episode with Ahsoka. We did not see the footage of Count Dooku. So I'm just as excited for that as the Ahsoka ones.
I honestly think that one will be like the big highlight.
Are they alternating?
I believe, that would make sense, but I don't know. Who knows how they're going to do it?
They are dropping all of the episodes at once.
That's right. Yeah, they're all being dropped at one time. That's right. And they're not splitting it out.
which that surprised me. I was not expecting them to do that, and that's why I was like, okay, maybe they're not long if they're dropping all the episodes at once. Like that would make sense to me. But if each episode's like 20 minutes, 22 minutes, I would be like, wow, like. But they just had the whole opportunity of doing a show right there and having new episodes drop every week, and they didn't.
Or maybe Disney's gonna try something out now. Maybe they're gonna see how the fans react. And mind you, this is all gonna be going on the same time as Andor, so I'm pretty sure they want Andor to have his moment, which is why Bad Batch got pushed back to next year,
January 4th.
And that's exciting too, because that means we're gonna get Bad Batch and Mandalorian pretty much back to back. So I am down for all of that.
And so here are all the projects that are going to be happening next year.
Bring it.
We've got Bad Batch. We've got Jedi Survivor. We have Indiana Jones 5. We have The Mandalorian, Skeleton Crew, and Ahsoka. That's a lot.
What about a lot?
Was that confirmed?
Oh, I guess not. I guess we're still
next year. Okay, yeah. Because they didn't talk about it. They we'll talk about it at Celebration next year. Like I would be surprised if they didn't. But those are already the confirmed projects happening next year. There are no movies coming out for 2023. Hopefully we'll get one in 2024, but we'll see.
And we're certain about the movie thing, right? Because that was of 2023.
Yes. That was the main, because think about it. If there was going to be a movie that was going to drop in 2023, they would have had it at least announced it at D23. Like that would make the most sense. And the fact that they didn't talk about it to hype it up, because I think they might have learned from their mistake from the year 2020. They announced all these movies and got everyone psyched up. And then we haven't seen really any actual results from that. Because you've got the movie that Taika was supposed to do. Haven't seen anything from that. There was also the Rogue Squadrons movie from Patty Jenkins. That was announced. That was almost 3 years ago. Like all these movie announcements I'm talking about was 3 years ago. The Rian Johnson trilogy was more than 3 years ago. And I think they learned from their mistakes of announcing something so early. Games is different because not everyone's a gamer, but everyone will go to the movies and watch it. So I think they learned from that mistake.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But we'll see what they have planned for us in the future. Speaking of Rian Johnson, apparently his Glass Onion sequel to Knives Out is killing it. They're saying that it's very, very good, and they're praising him and the writing and the directing. So he's all right. He's doing just fine.
It would be exciting to see a movie like
without
that.
Star Wars. Oh yeah, I'm excited to see Glass Onion.
I saw that, but that movie doesn't come out until December, right?
It comes out everywhere on Netflix December, but it's going to be coming out in theaters in November. A few places.
Okay.
Because they want to push it for that Oscar.
No, I know. Oh, I get that.
But yeah. So that's Rian Johnson's. We've talked about it. He's set for a couple of years now. I mean, 2026, 27. Who knows what he's going to do? He might finally do his movies, but like you said, it's kind of weird that they announced that 10 years before, and then he's like, all right, I'm back, I'm gonna do my trilogy now. I don't know, it's just I don't know. I think Lucasfilm, I think Solo and the fan reaction to The Last Jedi kind of scared a lot of what Lucasfilm was really wanting to do. And I think they have since slowed down a lot. So we'll see what they do going forward and how they're going to start announcing these movies going forward. Yeah, we'll see.
I think they will announce them, at least some of them at Star Wars Celebration, because it would be well,
because they didn't announce any new movies or any new projects at Celebration. We already knew about most of them when we went there, or actually we knew about all of them when we went there. So
they probably will announce some new projects. I would be surprised if they didn't. Because think about it, we had no idea that Skeleton Crew was a thing, and they announced that there, like, it threw everyone off, and then they were like, oh, but guess what? The only thing we can tell you is that Jude Law is going to be in it, and we were like, okay, that's cool. And
that's a cool picture though of Jude Law there. I love that because he's standing in front of that door like Jabba the Hutt had with those droids looking at him.
Yeah,
and the kids are behind him. I don't know. It's just there's so much going on in that one picture. I love it.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about what's the theme here of, like, is it like comedic? Is it?
I mean,
they are so they did say at the panel that it would, just because there's kids in it, it's not going to be a kids show. They were going for more of like the Stranger Things type vibe of it.
Yeah, you were telling me like about that last time. I'm like, what does that necessarily mean?
It will be a it will be like a serious like vibe to it. I think it will kind of have some like laughs here and there, but I think it's going to stay on the serious vibe of things. It's a couple of kids that get lost in the Star Wars galaxy, and who knows who they might run into. This will take place during that during the same timeline of the Mandalorian. There's always that chance of Mando made a cameo, but I'm like, no, I want this to be its own thing, and then later Grogu connect to it. No, I don't want.
There is a possibility.
You got to put him in there, man.
Money.
It said, yeah. David just said Skeleton Crew is said to be dark, so
yes,
that's what we're gonna go for. And someone said need a Lando update. So do I. I would love a Lando update. I have my the solo shirt that just has Lando's face on there. Every time I wear that shirt in public, I always get, I love your shirt. That's an awesome shirt. And I'm like, everybody loves Lando. Everybody loves this character. Lucasfilm, give us a whole show. Like, give us the whole
that.
Show.
So I mean, that's in the works. Apparently, it's like I mean, so I remember watching the investors call back in 2020, and they were announcing like all these projects, and they were like, here's the droid story, here's Lando, here's this, here's that. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then we never heard of those projects ever again. We are not getting the new Republic Rangers. That's not happening. So it's like, okay, Lando was actually going to be really cool, and including the show droids, because that was all right. So I'm have you guys seen the old droids cartoon
show?
Yeah. So it was essentially going to be that, but live action with Anthony Daniels coming in as C-3PO and R2, and they would just travel the galaxy, and it's like, oh, that's like, it's to me that is very retro, and I think that would have been really cool to see. I think it's still in the works because I think Anthony Daniels actually did film some things for it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
you said like reportedly he was in motion capture.
Yeah. In different areas across the world, so it's like that would make sense. Because honestly, if you did a show with C-3PO and R2-D2, and those were the main characters, I feel like that's a very easy thing to do because it's just a guy in a suit, and then you have your R2 unit, and then you could add some, just depending on the storylines and everything. But I would love to see that show maybe take place after the events of the sequels. Yeah. I think that would be a great way, like, to kind of continue that story first and maybe add more projects later. But for Lando, I really hope they actually do it, because Childish Gambino was such a great he was such a great Lando.
He's great. I just know that Donald Glover's been so busy with other projects.
Yeah.
Having him actually come in would be, I feel like it's going to be difficult. So,
yeah.
I mean, maybe they're just like, here's some more money. And then they're like,
right,
okay.
Exactly.
I would love to see him again, definitely, for sure.
And they actually have a lot of references to go off of, because there were the old novels, which were called the Lando Chronicles, or the Chronicles of Lando, and Lando just went off and did some obscure things, and it was just like, that would be cool to see in a show. That would be awesome. And maybe that would kind of lead into the events of Solo, so we could still have some scenes with L3, and then maybe we could kind of see how Lando built himself up to where we see him in Empire Strikes Back.
Hello, what have we here?
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, Lando's such a great character that it's just a shame they haven't done anything with him yet. What else do we have today, sir?
We have I want to talk about Indiana Jones real quick.
Go for it.
I know that
it's Lucasfilm. It's
right.
It's all
yeah. No one of the public saw the panel unless you were in the room, unfortunately. But a lot of the actual trailer information about it, like the breakdown of it, did come out, and there's a lot. I don't want to spoil the whole thing for it, but it's very reminiscent of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, it's got that vibe to it, apparently. And a huge indicator is in the opening of it, Sala is talking to Indy, talking about the old days, and how he, how he misses that the deserts were like full of water and stuff like that. And it just kind of continues forward and just shows like different shots with like in New York where he's riding a horse and he's running away, and there's like a Nazi shop, some Romans, and then there's someone that's asking about the new character. She's the same actress that played L3. I'm not gonna know the name of her for the life of me, but then he says she's my goddaughter, and then he gets and then him and her jump out a window, and then it's like Indiana Jones.
Nice.
There's been a lot of hints to time travel in that movie. Toby Jones and Harrison Ford were seen on set holding some type of device that looked like it was like a agent clock of some sorts. How do you guys feel about that if they actually end up like putting time travel into it?
Jimmy
because
Waller.
of
That's right, yeah. Sorry.
No.
So
Yeah.
when it comes to Indiana Jones, and I think this is where people didn't like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, was they were like, what do you dimensional beings? That doesn't make Indiana Jones would never. It's like, if you have any adventure character to do something like that, it would be Indiana Jones. Them introducing time travel and all that stuff for me goes kind of in line with how George Lucas and Steven Spielberg envisioned this character, envisioned this type of story. This for them was Saturday morning, serials they would watch when they were kids growing up, in the 50s. And, the very end, the alien, the adventurer comes across aliens and the spaceship lifts off into space. And then he's on to the next adventure,
Right.
The next adventure, he discovers the holy grail, and it's like, whoa, this is exciting. So for me, when I saw Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I thought that was a lot of fun for me. Because in my head, I'm thinking, this is George Lucas and Steven Spielberg's, like, this is their childhood growing up. Like, this is the 50s, the Red Scare, the UFOs and all this other stuff. For me, that's what my mind went to. So for them to introduce time travel, I mean, we're not confirming that it is. For me, it makes sense for Indiana Jones to be the one to have that type of adventure. That's because that's what he's for. That's what that character is for. Yeah. So that's my opinion. I mean, I could be completely wrong, and but that's how I feel.
All right, Josh, how about you?
I don't know. I personally, I'm kind of like, I don't necessarily want that, because I would love just another fun boots on the ground, in my opinion. Just
okay.
I want something to see. Crystal Skull is, I like Crystal Skull. The thing is, I want it to be something tangible that people don't have yet. Like, the cool thing for me would be like them going after the spear that pierced Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. I want something like an archaeological thing that everyone knows about. Well, not everyone, but it's a tangible thing that is either gone lost or something very important. I am
with you on that. Yeah.
Because I want them to really focus on the fact of him being like, librarian, historian, like everything is just, museum stuff. And I love when they did that. That was really important to me. So I think I would love to see that again.
I'm with you on that, because the whole point of Indiana Jones was like he was this guy that was going after, things that were based off in our time, where it was realistic just enough where we'd be like, oh, I could see something like that happening. But then you jump the gun in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and with aliens, it's like, oh, okay.
Well, here's the thing: is that that's probably the biggest jump that we've had, but we also had like the Temple of Doom. So
yeah,
I mean, I would say that those two are closer to each other than the first and the third one.
Yeah.
So here's another thing, though. The Crystal Skull legend and stuff like that is a real thing.
It is a real thing.
But
yes.
The problem is, like, not many people knew about it, but like not many people know that there is an actual, like, not conspiracy, but there is this thing that scientists are still scratching their heads over how these crystal skulls were made. So I think that may have been the problem, was that they chose a subject matter that not many people were very knowledgeable about. So, okay, Colin. All right.
No, I don't know what happened. No. What's happening?
That's funny. But yeah, we should have been like, oh, watch out. But so yeah, that was I mean, I think that's where, like, kind of a lot of people were kind of turned off from it, because they're like, oh, they just been science fiction. It's like, yeah, but Indiana Jones has always kind of been science fiction, which is, like you said, that's what makes it fun, is like it's stuff that we kind of know about, like the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, stuff like that, where we know about it. So it was fun for him to be going after that stuff. Time travel, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Or maybe that's just a very nice distraction, maybe that's not even part of it.
I'm not sure if you guys watched the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, but that show, oh my gosh, like that show was really, really good for its time. Mm-hmm. And it was something that George Lucas talked to Steven Spielberg about, and was like, I would love to have a show that was, you know, adventurous, but it was also educational to where they would show it in schools during history class. And I didn't know to what extent they would do that, but there's an episode where his family is in Africa, and they end up going hunting with President Theodore Roosevelt, and it's like wait, what? So I was like, okay.
Yeah, if you ever paid like look at George Lucas's upbringing, I'm not saying you haven't, but like he wasn't he wasn't smart in school. Like he struggled with school. So when he did Young Indiana Jones, that was his thing, was he wanted to make it fun. He wanted to make something fun for kids to watch and kids to enjoy. And crazy enough, Young Indiana Jones is what made him want to do Star Wars, like, because he directed a few of those episodes, and Rick McCallum was also involved with Young Indiana Jones. And there you go. And then he was like, I think I can do this. And even crazier.
Wait. You are talking about the prequels, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Prequels. Cool. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. My brain was already there. But yeah, the prequels.
Very good.
What's really funny was that they wanted to do Indiana Jones 4 around then. But then when Independence Day came out in 1997, they decided not to do it just yet. Because they were like, oh, well, he just had a whole giant ship come out of the sky in broad daylight. There goes the aliens thing. So that's why Indiana Jones came out much later. But it was supposed to come out in the early 90s. And thank God it didn't, because if it did, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have done the prequels when he did. So everything kind of lined up perfectly there.
Yeah, no, I love that character. I can't wait until they actually talk about the new Indiana Jones game that they announced all the way back in 2020, which which dude, they did not talk about any Star Wars games at the games panel. It was their first official one, and then they were like, oh, well, here is Lego Star Wars. It's a great game. Here are some random character packs. Have fun with that. And then that was it. I was like, you've got Jedi Survivor. You've got the open world Star Wars game. You didn't talk about any of those, man. Like, if you want to hype people up. I was disappointed. I was like, cool. We are getting a Gotham Knights game, but it's Marvel, where it's like in World War II with Captain America and Black Panther's grandpa. I'm like, cool, awesome, great. But at the same time, I was like, no Star Wars. And I was like, man, you had a perfect opportunity to do it and you didn't.
Like David and I always say, one day he and I will be in charge of the promotional aspect of Lucasfilm, and we will be dropping all this cool stuff for you. So, but yeah, Indiana Jones 5 comes out next summer, directed by James Mangold, not Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg I felt what he did was pretty cool, that he backed away from it.
Yeah.
And then James Mangold is no joke at all, so that's going to be exciting.
And a lot of people are wondering why he left the project, and to me, it sounds like they were not giving him the freedom that he wanted to on this one, and that he wanted. I feel like there was a lot of things that he wanted to do, and they were like, well, we want to go in this direction and stuff like that. And I think Steven Spielberg did stay on the project as a consultant. I think, but I don't think he really wanted to leave the project. I think he wanted to see the final one through, but because he wasn't getting the freedom that he wanted on it, I think that's why he was like, okay, I'm not going to be the main person on this one.
But also, you got to remember, he directed West Side Story and The Fabelmans, which is coming out this year. So I think part of it, maybe another part of it, I think he was very busy. And I think Disney and Kathleen Kennedy were like, hey, we kind of want this thing to come out very soon. So we need to get this thing made.
If you could give any director just freedom to do a Star Wars film without like studio intervention, what would it be? Who would it be?
Well, a director for Star Wars?
Yes.
I mean, without
studio intervention, like they got to make it their own vision.
I remember David and I talked about this. We were like,
Rian Johnson.
Yeah, Rian Johnson would be good. Also,
Quentin Tarantino.
That would be bizarre. But he's not a Star Wars fan. He's a
I know
Star
he's
Trek
not.
fan, so
I know. I'm just saying. I think it'd be because if he could just do whatever he wanted without studio intervention, I think that'd be insanely weird.
So here's my thing about that. That's fine with me as long as we're not dealing with any of the main characters. I don't want like Chewie and
no.
and
This is
Luke and them to show up.
No, I'm solely talking about like here's the characters. Stay within this timeline. Don't break canon. Go
have fun. Yeah,
I would want to see Guillermo del Toro.
Yes, that would be awesome.
As well as Alfonso Cuarón to have him come on Star Wars, and they say, okay, write and direct, go. I think for me, mostly Alfonso Cuarón, I think would just make one of the coolest Star Wars movies ever. Yeah, that would be probably my number one pick for that. Okay. I will never trust Brad Bird after Tomorrowland. So no, I never. If you know anything about me and Brad Bird, I'm super disappointed. Jordan Peele would be a great choice. He's a tremendous writer and director. That would be something really interesting.
That would be really interesting. I would love to see that.
That would be cool. Yeah. That's a good question. I like that question. Tonight I'm gonna be texting y'all. You know who else would be really good?
Yeah. No, there is always that potential future of those maybe not all of those directors, but yeah. That would be wild. I think for me mainly, I mean, it would probably be Steven Spielberg. I would want that because he would take more of that that classic action route that George Lucas had. And if you remember back to Revenge of the Sith, he actually wrote the entire Order 66 scene, and they actually animated it, and then the studio was like, this is way too long of just Jedi getting killed. We like need to dial it back. So they like and then they ended up doing the scene that we see in the theaters where it was like a 2-minute, 3-minute montage. But you can see that on Disney Plus with all the deleted scenes, or is it in the Blu-ray? Wow. I forget where, but those do exist and they are online.
And also he did direct the pre-visualization of the Anakin versus Obi-Wan fight.
He did.
A lot of those shots and the way the map of where they go during that fight, that is Steven Spielberg's direction on that. And it's really cool because if you watch the making of Revenge of the Sith, you hear George Lucas saying, all right, Steven had a cool idea. So what we're going to do is the lava is going to land on the platform and it's going to melt it. And then they're going to fall into the river of lava. And they were like, whoa. And he goes, yeah, I think that looked pretty cool. And sure enough, that looked amazing in the movie. And of course, we all know that Steven Spielberg was George Lucas's first choice to direct Return of the Jedi, but that never happened. So it would be interesting to see Steven Spielberg do a Star Wars movie. And weirdly enough, whenever they did the final scoring for Rise of Skywalker, Steven Spielberg was there when they recorded the score. Not George Lucas, but Steven Spielberg. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of weird, but you know. Yeah.
Someone was saying, how about a Star Wars horror movie?
That's all you. I can't do horror. I don't like scary movies. So
I think Mason brought it up where we've had that episode of the Clone Wars with Grievous and his like dungeon cave thing. And I would love to see, that would be my idealistic horror movie of like, let's say people break in to try and steal something and they're basically hunted down like it's a slasher movie of like it's just Grievous. Yeah, or like Maul, or like someone hunting them down, but they're stuck in a confined space. It's people trying to steal a Sith holocron to go sell.
Yeah.
But as they're getting out, like the cave collapses, and it's literally
so we're talking about Indiana Jones meets Alien, 1979 Alien.
Yes, where there's something that sounds awesome.
That needs to be made right now. Holy crap! I would watch that movie.
Yeah. There was also I think it was a comic book series or an old novel, but there ended up being like a plague type situation on a Star Destroyer. And then some people hop on there and there's like stormtrooper zombies. Yeah. Like walking around. And then that there was that arc in the Clone Wars where there were the Geonosians that were, that were zombies as well, and they had that
was
whole
creepy.
arc. That was actually. I remember watching that and just being like, man, they really like. I was surprised that they went the route that they did with it. It was really cool, but I was like, oh, cool, like awesome.
Yeah, it there was a few of those episodes in Clone Wars where I was like, I don't know, this is not for kids at all. Like, this is not a kid show.
No.
At all. But yeah, Star Wars horror movie, like Josh said, that whole idea, I would watch that idea. Indiana Jones meets 1979 Alien would be just one of the coolest movies ever. You heard it here first, folks. So if Lucasfilm takes that idea, it was.
And Josh is directing it. No, yeah. There is our character of the week. It was between a certain clone and the Jedi Master, Yero Poof, and you all voted, and it is
Mando.
No. No, this is oh shoot, no, I clicked the wrong picture. I'm sorry.
There we go. Yay! We got there, boys.
No wonder why you're all confused. Like, James, why'd you say Mando?
Yeah, no, this is Commander Vong, I'm sorry, Captain. There we go. Our friend Christian has been doing that costume for a bit, so he's going to give me a lot of crap for that. But this is our character of the week. We first see him in the last episodes of the Clone Wars, and he doesn't make it too far. He does get killed by Darth Maul, but he was part of the 332nd Battalion that was specifically made to be under Ahsoka's command. And they were going into the tunnels to chase after Maul, and then Maul and his I think people were calling them Maulorians. I don't know. I didn't come up with that name, so don't come after me. But they ambushed the clones and Ahsoka, and he got caught in the crossfire, and he didn't make it.
But that's our character of the week.
That's our character of the week. If you guys want more obscure characters, and on the roster and where we talk about them, please send us a message on our Instagram, on our email. Because I like doing this. I think it's a lot of fun of just diving into characters. Last week we talked about.
Can we also do like creatures?
Yeah, sure. Like Wampas,
Accolade versus Wampa. Which one do you want to hear about? Yeah,
or a Bothan.
What are you doing? Wait, do you know what we could do? We could like bring in two creatures. People vote for it, and then we talk about which one would end up actually like winning in a fight. So
I like that idea.
This is a kids podcast here. Okay, we don't need to be having creatures fighting each other.
But
like, would a Wampa fight a Jawa?
No. We are.
What kind of blaster does he have?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the Jawa pack in here? All right, I got.
Is the Wampa out in the sand desert? Is that what we're talking about here?
We got to figure all this stuff.
We are talking about like of the actual classic like actual creatures, like not the different alien species,
Deadliest
right?
warrior.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you mean. My mind was just like, what if they had snow Jawas? Like, whoa, those guys look crazy, you know? They have blue eyes. That would be nuts.
We could have a Rancor versus Acklay, and then Josh could be in charge of the stats and see like how like strong a Rancor is compared to like an Acklay. And
all right, we could try that out. We can.
It's just like the silverback gorilla versus the grizzly bear conversation over and over and over again.
But you know, it's weird. I would never want to see that fight. I think that would scare me if I ever saw that out in public. Like if you ever actually saw that out in the like, that would probably freak you out.
Something that would always terrify me was playing the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign, and you would go on the planet Felucia, and then you would try and defend the area, and you would just have like 6 acolytes just come out of nowhere, like out of the jungle, and they would just try and kill you, and you would have to run for your life. Yeah.
No,
Oh, man.
you know those spiders in Fallen Order on Kashyyyk.
Oh yeah.
Those things scare the crap because like some of them would just jump on you and you weren't even like paying attention. Yeah, that was terrifying. So
yeah.
But I don't.
There are a lot of creatures to talk about that were just recently added into canon through Jedi Order and some of the other books. And I know they actually have like a YouTube channel thing going on where they used to talk about like of the different creatures, some known and some new.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's another thing we can do.
Yeah. So please go follow us on Facebook. We're under the Star Wars Stuff group and the Star Wars Stuff podcast group. We have a Patreon, guys. We love our Patreon. I know we say it every week, but we do have things on the way. And there's a lot of upcoming commentaries coming you guys' way as well with Andor, and we haven't done Kenobi or the Book of Boba Fett yet, so those will be coming very soon. And then we are also on Instagram at Star Wars Stuff Podcast. We're on Twitter at Stuff Pod, TikTok Star Wars Stuff Podcast. Please give us an email. We love hearing your feedback and everything. Star Wars Stuff Podcast at gmail.com. And then, of course, as always, please go on Apple Podcast and give us a review, even if it's all about David, because all you love David.
Yeah, everybody loves David.
It's fantastic. It's wonderful. And then we're on stuffpodcastnetwork.com. Not James. Josh, you need to add your bio on there. So yeah, I know he's giving me the look. I see it. But yeah, with that being said, guys, we love podcasting every week, and we wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for you guys. Everyone on Patreon that supports us, thank you so much for being on there. Stay tuned for our next episode. On our live streams are always on Sundays and Wednesdays, and then the episodes drop the next day on Mondays and Thursdays. So look forward to that. Next week is Andor week. Very exciting stuff. It's going to be dropping on that Wednesday night. On that Wednesday, not Wednesday night. And I'm very excited because it's live action Star Wars. It's Andor. It's during that dark period, and it's Star Wars. Like, we've missed Star Wars, man.
Yes.
So I'm very, very excited. But with that being said, may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.